It's time now for a look at the Sunday papers, and I'm joined by journalist and author Janelle Aldred and the UK editor of The Big Issue, Paul McNamee. Great to see you both. Thanks so much for joining at this very early hour on Sunday morning. Janelle, let's kick off with you, if I may. Front page of the Telegraph, leading on new housing being blocked if councils don't agree to green schemes such as the ULEZ, the low emissions scheme that we've seen in London, which has proved unpopular with some.
Yeah, I mean, this story has quite a few moving parts to it, but I think the main gist of it is Natural England, who I must confess I had not heard of this quango before, have a thing of soft measures by which it seems they are able to block new housing if it's not green enough, essentially. Now, this seems like one of those classic rows that happen when, two things collide. We need new housing now, but I think most of us agree we also want a greener, cleaner future too. But it seems that winning hearts and minds is not quite on the table with this one. So the council are basically saying that Natural England have blocked 145,000 houses being built because they want it to be kind of no-car zones, or they're suggesting no-car zones, etc. ULEZ charging in certain areas, which people are saying are anti-car, and it seems that Natural England is saying it's just advice, that people can choose not to take it, but it seems that it is going to build a bit of a clog-up and also cause a bit of an argument, because now local residents are fighting against the council, who are now trying to introduce these green initiatives, saying they're not happy with them. This seems like one of those almighty things that actually could be sorted if the communication was probably a little bit better, that we can all get what we want. But it's been called green activism because it seems like it's coming in a bit by force. And I think as we go towards the next election, we'll be hearing a lot more about quangos, which we haven't really heard that word for a long time recently. But when it comes to green issues and things like this, I think we always have to know that we have to balance our future with what we need right now. And I'm hopeful, or I hope there's something that can happen where people can come to the table and actually talk about it in a constructive way that isn't a green future versus house building, because actually we do need both, and it's how can people get around the table and agree to things that we can all kind of live with now for later.
And speaking of the next election, Paul, front page of the Sunday Times, someone who won't be standing, Ben Wallace.
Yes, this is the story that broke and was over some news bulletins last night. Ben Wallace, the Defence Secretary, has announced that he will both go from his position as head of defence at the next reshuffle, and it's unclear exactly when that'll happen. It's potentially in September, and it may not be his decision, I suppose. But also then, more significantly for the Conservative Party and Conservative government, he's announced that he will leave politics at the next election, whenever that is, within the next year or so. His constituency is the victim of boundary changes, so he would have to find a new constituency, which is the second time this has happened to him. He seems to be unlucky with his constituencies. And he has talked about the toll it has taken on his family at the high level of politics, how if he goes, he'd be happy to work in a bar, and convinced he won't be doing that. But also that with the personal and the political, he's also sounded a bit of a warning as he goes out the door on what is potentially coming down the line. You'd mentioned just at the top of it, 3 conflicts he sees that Britain could become embroiled in by 2030. One of them, with China, some kind of Cold War, as he's identified, potentially more military showdown with Russia, and also interventions needed against militias and in Africa. So it's not some, as he goes, he's not sending any particular positive messages, and I'm sure also for Rishi Sunak, yet another big beast of the Conservative Party doesn't say that this is a party that is going in a particularly positive direction into the next election. So it is a significant moment for British politics and for the military in Britain.
Yeah, certainly sobering warnings from Ben Wallace there, who of course has been Defence Secretary for such a long time, well regarded on that brief. And just looking ahead again to the next election, Janelle, front page of The Observer, Keir Starmer warning Labour that they won't be able to spend their way back to power.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. You know, a few days ahead of a by-election trying to overturn a 20,000 majority, Boris Johnson's old seat coming up too. Keir Starmer's really pressing home on what he's standing on for the next election. However, I'm not sure that this is a good ground to stand on. You know, I think we've already seen what's happening when we're kind of holding the country together by sellotape and sticky tape and craft scissors, and it doesn't work. And also the unions are kind of saying to him, Sharon Graham, the General Secretary of Unite, saying to him, people need something to vote for. I don't think this tact of kind of going down what sounds like austerity-like measures is positive, and it doesn't give someone like me much hope of, okay, well, this is someone who's saying, we're giving you a brighter future, we're going to do it, just by simply saying, well, it's more about frontline services, grassroots. I think we need something a bit more inspiring if he's going to win over a mass of voters and overturn the numbers he needs to win the next general election. But, you know, he's standing on what he believes in, but I'm not sure if it's something that he's going to get mass momentum behind.
Yeah, certainly a tricky position indeed. Paul, let's move away from politics for a moment. A few of the tabloids leading with royal stories today. Front page of the Mail, photograph of the Princess of Wales, of course, at Wimbledon yesterday. And also this story about Prince George, how he won't have to follow with royal tradition and do a stint serving in the armed forces.
Yes, there are quite a few royal stories around today, and this one it's potentially significant because I suppose more than anything it marks another change in the modernisation of the royal family, what's expected of them, what they're going to do when, particularly when William and his family take over from Charles, and George, who is, you can see from the front page, is about to turn 10. He will not have to serve in the military. His parents have said that they are happy for him to shape his own destiny, whatever it is that he decides to do. Unlike generations of his family before, as the Mail on Sunday says, the future monarch is the Commander-in-Chief of the British Armed Forces, so that may cause a little friction in the future. But for now, it is, I suppose, a positive that this slimmed down monarchy that, rather than costing so much, is looking to be something new for the future. And William himself, who's put so much of his own stock into eradicating homelessness in recent times and has committed to that, has shown that he is taking a slightly different way as well. So this is just another marker along that course.
Yeah, certainly very interesting indeed on that respect. Perhaps less significant, front page of The Sun, Janelle, they're leading on a story of Prince William and his new electric scooter. Apparently that is front page worthy.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, having gone on one of those electric scooters this week, just managing to stand upright, it is a story in and of itself. I hope he's got a helmet. But yeah, they're saying that he's going to use now rather than motorbikes, a bit of an eco-friendly thing. It only goes 10 miles an hour, but I can absolutely tell you it's not hair-raising when you have to lean your whole body to go left or right. So good luck to him whipping around Kensington on that electric scooter as he makes his travels in an eco-friendly way.
And Paul, front page of The Star. I often struggle to make sense of the front page of The Star. Help me out here. What's this about?
Spy chiefs want new nerdy 007s to lead battle against AI chatbots. And as you see, James Bond to hunt down psycho scumbag robots. It is everything that you would expect of a Daily Star front page. Basically, they've seen an ad from the intelligence services looking for people to help with AI research. We know that this is something that is going to become much more dominant in society. And rather than present that in a straightforward way, they've called them psycho scumbag robots.
Yeah,
that's the story.
Yeah, that's the story. Brief thought from you on that, Janelle?
I mean, it is hilarious. As you say, you struggle to make sense of kind of where that's come from and where it's going. So I think I'm probably best off leaving that there.
Yeah, but certainly it does keep the AI discussion going, something that we're talking about a lot at the moment, something certainly that is being heavily discussed with these strikes in Hollywood. Janelle, Paul, great to see you. We'll see you again next hour. Thanks so much. Do stay with us, still to come on Sky News Breakfast. We'll be speaking about Britain's new biggest trade deal that it's signed since leaving the EU. But will there be any real economic benefit? We'll be talking about that at the top of the hour. Kemi Badenoch has just signed the deal in New Zealand, but a lot of criticism about really whether it's going to make a big difference.